Well, Maria Thatill may officially be one of the world's most beautiful people after placing in the top 10 of the Miss Universe competition. But don't think for a second she is a pretty face or just a pretty face.
No way Maria is calling out a group of teenage boys from two private schools after being added to their group chat, only to be shocked by what has been described as disgusting, sexist and misogynistic conversations.
Now, since revealing what the boys had said online, Maria's inbox has been swamped with hundreds of messages from past and current schoolgirls demanding change, saying they are fed up with how they're treated. Maria Thatill joins us live from her home in Melbourne. Hello, lovely to see you again.
Hello, it's wonderful to see you both too. How are you going?
We are great. You need to talk us through what happened when you were added to a group chat, and this was filled with teenage boys. They kind of invited you into this chat. How were you added into that conversation, and why was it so shocking?
So I was added into the conversation on Instagram, and it was shocking because it gave me full access to an entire thread of messages where there was particularly offensive, degrading and sexually explicit messages about women and, you know, the peers of the people who were participating in the chat.
OK. You've contacted both of the schools these boys came from. What did they say when you raised the language they were using? What did they say to you?
Well, look, I really want to make an important point. It has been people of all gender identities who've reached out and spoken against this and don't want to condone it. And it goes beyond the two schools concerned, but I thought, what a good starting point. I reached out to them and I said, look, this is some of the behaviour that's exhibited, and rather than going down a route of seeking to punish or anything like that, is there anything we can do to make the community a lot safer for your boys, your girls, your people of other gender identities? Is there anything we can do to change this? Because clearly this is an issue with the culture. And both principals have been wonderful. They've been in contact with me. They've been in contact with an organisation called the Man Cave that I'm working with. And the only disappointing thing, and one thing I do want to bring up with you both, is whilst there has been a lot of support and a lot of people have been liberated by it, there has been the trolling online. And I think it's important to touch on that because there have been some teachers and people from other schools who have come out online and said point blank that sexism doesn't exist in the schools. They've said that this was potentially done for a publicity stunt, and there seems to be discourse around how valid this is because I represented Australia at Miss Universe. And I think any conversation that seeks to invalidate people, their opinion, their experiences, it really does contribute to a culture where we are condoning sexual harassment depending on who's reporting it and what the situation is. And that's not something I personally want to get behind, and it's why it's important that we keep going.
Yeah, but you're using your profile for good. You're using your voice to actually affect change. I know that's what you are all about. You had your own encounters with sexism when you were at school. So what was your experience, and how have you been able to then advise other young women who are having to hear these sorts of conversations, Maria?
You know, Carly, I think my experience is shared by a number of people, and it's a mix of things from, you know, without going into explicit details, I would say there have been many situations where I have felt like I was nothing more than a sexual object to be used for social capital by peers of mine. And I think it's important to note that at the time, you know, 10 plus years ago when I was in high school, I was shamed into silence. And I was so afraid because I thought nobody would believe me. Why speak up? You know, but we live in a country where 90% of sexual assault victims do not report the misconduct that they experience. And the reason for that is there is community attitudes and beliefs that lead them to feel that they'll be shamed. So my advice to not only young girls, but young boys who speak out about this and are then called a simp or called weak or told that they're not masculine, my advice to all of them is don't stop fueling this conversation, because I don't think the change will happen with just my generation. But the minute we let the conversation die, that's when things continue.
Hey, really quick, unfortunately we're out of time, but what do you think schools and parents should be doing to talk to the children about this toxic behaviour? Where does it start?
I think it starts at home, and I think that educators as well should not be turning a blind eye. talk to your students and ask them honestly, what's your experience and what can we do? Your students matter more than the reputation of your school.
Well said, well said. Always delightful to talk to you, Maria. Continue the good work.
Thank you. Lovely to speak to you both too. Stay safe.
Lovely to see you, Maria. Thank you.